Welcome, welcome, everyone, to the Sigma Show, episode 60. I'm your host, Sigma. Before I let you know who's joining me today, real quick, we'll go over what our topics will be for this week. First up, we've got some kind of troubling news from was it The Verge? I think did the report, or VGC. I can't remember. Gamesby. Yeah. I'm sorry. Gamesby did the report. They basically revealed that the Moon Studios, the devs behind Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps, apparently have an oppressive culture. There have been like employees who have left and complained about the two leads there, which has led to Microsoft deciding not to do future projects with them. So we'll talk about kind of that information and where that goes next, as well as some new info about a new Daredevil reboot coming to Disney Plus. That should be interesting. Really interested to kind of get into nitty gritty about like what that can mean for the MCU. And finally, we got a big state of play all about Hogwarts Legacy. 20 minutes of like new footage, reveals, all that jazz. We'll get real deep into that goodness. And here to talk to me about these things is our very own Hogwarts student, J-Mate.
What's good? I mean, legit. Peak.
What house would you be, J-Mate?
Right.
I'm Ravenclaw.
Jesus, is that a wand in a cave?
Right.
Dude,
that's
like Harry Potter. This. I have an entire. You can't see it. I have an entire shelf dedicated to my Harry Potter shit.
Oh man!
Wow.
Oh, I thought KC was just kind of being like a bit racist.
No, I saw how excited you got.
No, legit. I've got the.
No, I was watching his face.
Dude, I fucking love Harry Potter. This awesome. Is like a full metal replica of Lucius Malfoy's cane. Like, my dad also loves this shit. He gave it all to me.
Is your dad Lucius Malfoy? Are you Draco?
Right, you know?
Right.
Yeah. My dad gave me this. I'm Draco. I've just dyed my hair shit brown.
Yeah. Secrets.
But yeah, I love it. Hello, I'm here. I'm also on this podcast.
Yeah,
and I'm literally just waiting so we can talk about
that. No, I'm glad I got you here for that, because I wasn't aware until just now. But we're also joined by Marty Sleva.
I'm gonna get out my big Ori and the Will of the Wisps collection.
Yeah.
I got this Ori cane and like a small rabbit thing comes out of it. No, hey, welcome. Thanks for having me.
Is your dad Ori in the Blind Forest?
Yeah, no, oh yeah, my dad's the bad studio manager.
Oh no. Oh, Marty, you need to talk.
Listen, both of our dads are bad guys. It's fine.
And finally, being joined by Superman Jeff.
What's going on, everybody? Nekamamushi, we're back.
Yes, Jeff's back. All cats and vipers are
all
welcome.
Cats and vipers. Yes.
So, welcome guys to the show. Let's jump into what we've been playing. In case anyone needs a warm up, folks in the chat need some time to warm up. Have their morning coffee, etc. Anybody have anything to report? Anything new you've been checking out, or is it still Elden Ring 24/7?
Finished Elden Ring yesterday.
Ooh,
you finished it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I rolled credits on it. I didn't.
Well, you finished the
game.
The story.
Yeah, it was.
Elden Ring.
Yeah, it was good. There was a couple roadblocks with bosses in the final final few hours. But overall, yeah, really dug it. Like
spikes.
Yeah, it's especially. I had a surprisingly easy time aside from a couple pretty major spikes. But a few of them I was able to cheese my way through, and a few of them just, I guess, tried hard enough. So I did it. Yeah, feel pretty good. Game's excellent, incredible. And I think it's absolutely deserving of the 13 million or 12 million in 3 week sales and the heaps and heaps of accolades it's probably going to get. In terms of AAA stuff, I can't imagine enjoying anything as much this year, save for if Zelda happens to come out. Yeah. That being said, I'm also playing stuff like
a chance of that, isn't there?
Yeah. I don't know. I my gut says Zelda's not coming out this year, so I don't think that's a thing we have to worry about. But but I mean, in terms of like indie stuff, I'm playing the hell out of Tunic, and I'm absolutely adoring it. So what a game!
Nice.
I'm really excited.
I'm glad to hear that. I feel like more people should check that game out because I don't want to spoil anything, but like there's a lot in there that's just you won't get by looking at any of the previous stuff because people are not trying to spoil you on what that game is. Like, it's more than meets the eye.
I've never had a free MR sell me on a game as much as your one on Tunic.
Really?
I need to pick this shit up. I need to pick this shit up now.
It's really good. It just sucks that it released in the like orbit of Elden Ring. Like it, barely has anything to do with Elden Ring, but it's just in the same room as Elden Ring.
Gravity slingshot off of Elden Ring, and it's gone into the void.
yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But Marty, you said you rolled credits. Does that mean like your interest in kind of continuing to discover stuff in Elden Ring has waned now? Because I know that happens to me.
Yeah. So I for now, because I played so much of it over the course of a few weeks, that I'm not going to immediately jump into Journey 2 or whatever, New Game Plus, whatever they call it.
Right.
But I do want to roll a different character because I played as like a sorcerer the entire game, and I kind of want to roll like a crazy strength and dex build or some wild melee builds. So I think I'm going to do that eventually. And there's a bunch of I didn't beat what most folks say are the hardest boss of the game. I didn't get all the cool legacy armor and everything. So yeah, I'm gonna go back in eventually, and especially seeing that they're that recent patch added a new NPC quest line and fixed up a bunch of stuff. And then there's a lot of theories going on that the divine towers are pointing to a cloud in the map, in the middle of the map, that might be DLC or new area or have story ramifications. Yeah, there's also, I know, different endings, and so I got one ending that I thought was really cool because I think I did a certain witch's quest line. I was able to get a different ending, so I'm curious to see what the other endings look like.
Nice. I'm wondering, do you, so it does the thing where you beat the last boss and then it's game over, start over. You can't go back and do anything, right?
You can go back.
You can?
You don't start New Game
after
Plus
you've...
you don't start New Game Plus until you sit at the round table and select it.
Okay. So you can still just be in your world after you finish.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there is, at a certain point late in the game, there is without spoiling it, a slight world shift. An event happens and it changes a location, and I think that might lock you out of certain things, certain side quests or certain bosses or areas, maybe. But that's the only thing, and that occurs. That's not at the end. That's slightly before the end.
Okay, so you can.
I guess
see
I don't want to go to
coming,
specifics, but
I guess.
Yeah. Once it happens, you'll know it happened. And I'm not sure how much it locks out, but it doesn't you could still go to 99% of the map and futz around.
All right. Good to hear. Does that do it for you? Or you've been watching anything interesting as well?
What I've been watching. I got all caught up on Demon Slayer on the entertainment district arc. Yeah, I thought that was rad, and now I'm back on the Rankin and Kings wagon, which I'm loving. I think that show is just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I finally started.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, it's got I think Boshi's one of my favorite main characters for having literally zero actual spoken words of dialogue. Absolutely wonderful little dude.
Boshi,
yeah, he's very heartwarming.
Kill for him.
He's literally.
Yeah, I would literally murder for him. But yeah, that's all my stuff.
All right, good to know.
Oh yeah.
Jeff, J-Mate, you guys got anything you want to throw out there?
Sure, I'll go first. Elden Ring, obviously, that's been playing that. I've been doing a lot of side stuff in that. I fought a boss yesterday that was surprisingly harder than it should have been. It was this little.
How hard should it?
It wasn't a main. It shouldn't have been as hard as he was. It was like a bird that looked like a chicken that was stillborn, like a little baby chickpea or something like that.
That death bird thing, or is it something else?
Yes, a death bird.
It was okay. Yeah, because that thing descended on me out of straight up nowhere in the open world. I was not prepared for that fight. It scared the crap out of me, and it demolished me immediately after. Haven't seen it since.
It only shows up at night, so I was like, oh, okay, that was harder than it should have been. I had no problem with
Marty's like, I haven't seen this thing.
Wow. I was like, I put 80 hours in this game, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's two of them.
That's how good it is.
Two.
There's so many bosses in this game. It's just unbelievable. You go to a spot, and all of a sudden there's a boss there.
It's not.
I guess as soon as it turns to night, I'm just like, nope, just go sleep at a campfire, wait till morning. I'm not exploring this world at night. You kidding me?
I'm so conditioned to not go near dragons that if I see anything flying,
Oh man, yeah.
I was like, no, not dealing with that.
Yeah.
That first
how
dragon,
did you
took
come
me
up?
forever to fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder how you came across the Deathbird in the first place, because I was doing something completely different. I was trying to storm a castle. There was a giant shooting arrows at me, and then I was attacked. Like I was just in a boss fight.
So I went looking for another boss.
Did you go somewhere to like get it?
Yeah, I was looking for another boss, and then this boss showed up. There was like one of those tigers with like a little sword in his mouth. I was looking for him.
Yeah,
I found him
tiger with a sword in his mouth.
Yeah, you know him. Before, and like he killed me. This is like early on, and I never found him again. So I was looking for him, and then this thing shows up, and I'm like, what the heck? And it has a crazy moveset. Like, never mind. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a good fight. And he was harder than I thought he should have been. You know, I'm pretty strong at this point. So I'm like, okay, but then you still come across something that's just like it humbles you. It's like, okay,
place, buddy.
Yeah, like the weapon I was using actually got nerfed. Yeah, it's like you don't know what game this is. Like, nah, I don't care what you can do. I don't care if you can throw lightning. I don't care about that. Like this, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you a couple of times. But like they nerfed the weapon I was using. It was the sort of Night and Flame. They nerfed that. Yep. So definitely not as good as it was, but it's still pretty good. So I was searching for a better faith scaling weapon because that's what I'm going. Mostly faith and dex. And so I was searching around. I just beat the capital, but I'm not moving it forward. I made it to like the mountains, but I'm going back to like search for stuff that I missed. Like there's a lot of legacy dungeons that I didn't do that I was going back and doing. Like the very first one, at the start of the game, I never did that one, so I went back and did that. Like just a bunch of them.
Oh right, yeah, you like took the long way around. I remember, right?
Oh, so you never fought Godric?
No, I fought Godric. There's that boss at the bottom of the first steps. Not the first steps. No, there's a boss down there that's like some type of like creepy dragon looking creature. That you need a stone key.
A lot of the creatures.
Oh, you're talking about the first the mini dungeon, right inside like the tutorial crypt.
Yes.
Yeah. You use 2 stone sword keys, and then you have to do like the puzzle.
Like with the ramps and the the little chariot stone thing.
That dude's hard as shit. Like Indiana Bones. Yeah, Indiana Bones. I had to say it before it actually connected in my head. You didn't make that up, did you, Jimmy? Because that's really good.
Well, I took it off the top of my brain. It's quite a simple joke. I'm sure someone has said it. Like, I didn't steal that from someone. But that joke is so fucking simple. I'm sure someone has said it. I'm not claiming that joke.
It's only 10 a.m. or you already got joke of the day. Congrats, man.
All right.
Yeah, well, fuck yeah, dude. Get them in early. Have you done Volcano Manor yet?
I made it there. I made it there both ways. So the way you get there through quests, and there's another one like a weird way you get there. I don't want to say anything, but like it's a weird way to go there. Like you wouldn't think going there this way would actually work, but it does. Yeah. So I got there and I was doing a bunch of like go quests. Like they want you to go and like invade people. But I know there's a boss there, so I'm planning to go back and then do that place too. So it's like much like I'm at work thinking about, okay, when I get home, this is what I'm going to work on. I'm going to go and then I'm going to do this. But then I'm going to do this. But then I need some more smithing stones. So I need to go back to the crystal cave or whatever it is. Like I need some more stones. So it's like, it's very like consuming. Like it pulls you in.
Yeah. All I'm saying is if you like faith weapons, like my current playthrough is a faith build, you're going to really like some of the weapons you find there and the boss weapon. It's been my main weapon since I found it.
So, I think I know which one you're talking about. I don't know if it's a spoiler, but I don't know if I should say it. It's like it begins with a B.
Yeah, that sword.
Yeah.
That sword is restonkulous.
Oh wow!
A gun? You found a begun?
Yeah, the begun is nuts.
Boomstick.
Let's go to Margaret 2.0 and just cap him.
Aside from that, I finally got back to Destiny. Not that I haven't wanted to play Destiny, it's just like Marty mentioned with Tunic, like it just happened to come out the same week as Elden Ring. So it's like while I want to play, it's been getting pulled away. But the Witch Queen has been very, very good. I finished the campaign on Legendary, so that was fun. I really enjoyed the difficulty that it added. Yeah, I did a solo. Yeah, it was solo.
Impressive.
Just me. Yeah, I'm not.
I mean, you didn't call me or nothing. Like I told you I wanted to go through the campaign and everything, but I mean, I guess I didn't get an invite. You know?
If only there was a death bird in that game to take you down a peg.
I invited you. You said you were busy. Something about I don't know.
I'm never busy. I literally do nothing all day.
Oh, that's true. But that was fun. I heard I actually watched the world's first raid. So the raid looks very good. Like this looks like to me like this could probably be the best raid to date. So I'm definitely looking to gear up. I'm like 10 light levels before I can do the raid, but to do it comfortably, I'm like 10 away. So I want to get these 10 light levels in and attempt the raid because they added a lot of new cool stuff. They added crafting, so you can craft weapons. You can craft raid weapons too once you unlock them. So there's a bunch of cool stuff that you can do. Casey didn't like the glaive. I didn't like it at first either, but the more I've been using it, the better it is.
Yeah, maybe it's just a bad first impression because it's like the new weapon class that they added. Like they give you one like for free after like that first mission,
Right.
whatever. And like it just seemed really dumb. Like it's like a dual bladed weapon, but it like shoots like out of the front. It's just weird. But I don't know. Maybe it gets better. I don't know.
It's like a pike. It's like a pike, and you can shoot the blade off. But it's pretty cool. So like, and it has a melee attack to it too. So like, you don't have to have ammo to use the melee attack. So it works very well. And they redid one of the classes, the Void subclass, and added like different mechanics that they did with stasis, like fragments, and which made it very like customizable. Like it's very. Before it was like you either picked this tree, this tree, or this tree. Now you can pick what fragments you have to go with this, what goes with that. Like it opened up a lot of builds, which made it a lot better. Aside from that,
wait, so did you watch the full raid without playing it? Like you don't like I've never done one of the Destiny raids, but like is that how you do, like you watch them before you play them, or is the enjoyment in just accomplishing it or accomplishing it without the guides? Like that's a genuine question. I don't.
So day one.
No, that's a good question actually.
Yeah.
So day one is they spike the difficulty. So for 24 hours, it's twice as hard as it normally would be. So, but you get a special emblem if you do. So there's usually a bunch of people online racing to do it.
I always had friends who were like hardcore into it, who would like gather up their crew and go for the first day and stream for like whatever 18 hours trying to beat it.
Exactly. It's like I used to take off of work and it used to be a big thing. Like I get snacks and I just raid all day. But it's harder now to get 6 people. Most of my friends, don't want to play, or they claim they want to play and don't really want to play.
Super busy like KC.
Right.
Well,
so
the thing is it's an investment. Yeah. Just to get to the raid. Like a lot of people would want to just check out the raid, but you have to, like Jeff mentioned, he played the whole campaign. He's still not high enough light. Like you got to do other stuff after that to be high enough light to like function, and then the raid puzzle starts. Because I used to feel like that too. Like I didn't want to see anyone do it. I wanted to go in there and like with my group of friends, like we just figure it out. But like that's really stressful. Like if everyone's not on the same page, like they get in there and like they start arguing and
getting 6 people to be able to set aside that giant chunk of time, because it's not like
it's a lot of time.
Right, it's 2.5 hours and we'll finish it. It's like, no, this is like a day.
It's like World of Warcraft raiding. It's a job.
I really started like 9 a.m. and not finish until like 10 p.m. at night. Like that's how long you would be going. Now after that 24 hours, it goes back to normal difficulty and it's like cake. But like those first 24 hours is like they give you a special emblem if you wind up beating it. But like I watch it because here's the thing: like watching people do it. You hear some stuff, but you mostly just hear them talking and trying to figure it out. Like I've seen some stuff I picked up on, like, okay, well, that's how you do that. But like just watching them doing, because things are moving so fast, you're not going to pick up everything unless you're actually in the raid and seeing those things like, firsthand. But, it was definitely fun. I will say this is the most 3-dimensional villain that they've had in the raid. Like normally it's just very like cut and dry. This is actually very good. Like he'll talk to you. He'll talk smack to you. And he'll like kick you across the room. Like it's like I love the boss that they added to this one. Like it's very, very well thought out. Even the mechanics in this raid is very, very good. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing it and getting some loot.
Yeah, I want to get there, man. Like, you're not helping me. Like, I feel.
Hey,
I feel
man, I
abandoned.
told you. After I finish the Iron Banner this weekend, I'll be at the light I need to be at. And when you do the campaign on Legendary, they give you gear 20 levels above the soft cap.
Oh,
So
dang.
you only
That's
have
a lot
2
of
more
levels.
light levels to go. Yeah. So and every encounter that you do, you get double chests. So instead of normally 1, you get 2. So it helps you level up very quickly. Like I did a campaign, maybe if I would have did it all in one day, maybe like 3 hours.
Nice.
That's not bad. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jimmy,
I'm
you
trying
ever
to
get
hop on there and get that
into
done.
Destiny?
Sorry.
Did you ever get into Destiny? I know you said you were like a big WoW guy, right? And WoW and Guild Wars.
I was a really big MMO guy. I've literally thousands of hours in WoW and Guild Wars 2, respectively. I played Destiny 1 quite a lot. I was one of the people who I remember when it came out. My best mate came over. He bought his PS4 and his monitor and just brought it to my house, and we smashed through the entire campaign in like a couple days, and it was great. And then we kind of, because it was early, we didn't really have much to do, so we kind of just faded away. I played a lot of 2. Again, I played quite a lot of it, but I never did any of the raids. And I really enjoyed it, but I had that same issue of people falling off. So oh, I want to keep playing, and then people kept like, oh, I don't really feel like playing it now, and then it's kind of hard to network with other players in that game. You kind of need friends, unless it's really difficult. So I enjoy the game.
They have made it easier with the companion app where you can go and put looking for a group. But to me, if you find your fun in playing with friends, like playing with a bunch of strangers, I can accomplish it with a bunch of strangers, but it's not the same level of fun that it would be if it was 6 friends. Because with Destiny, it used to be you play when a DLC came out for about a month, 2 months. Then it wouldn't be much to do, so it'd be still for like another 2 months, and then you come back and you just bounce back and forth.
Yeah, and I think it's a solid game. I like it better than Halo, but that's just me. I really like it. I haven't played much of the new DLC stuff. Last time I properly played was without just like dabbling was before they left Activision.
Oh, okay.
So it's been a few years. It's been a while. But,
I keep forgetting Sony bought them like a month ago.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah, that did happen.
Did they? I didn't realize.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's Sony like chucking money at things so they become good.
Yeah, and they need like a shooter studio as well. So there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Oh, does that mean Destiny 3 or whatever it's going to be called is going to be?
No, I mean, we were all talking about that, but it sounded like Destiny Forever will be multi-platform. But I imagine whatever new, because they've already said they're working on new IP and like a third-person thing, and I think they almost want Bungie like in charge of their games as a service initiative, which that's one thing like Sony doesn't have that Microsoft has. Like Microsoft has a bunch of sort of like ongoing games, and Sony really doesn't have any. Which I know a lot of people like throw up in their mouth when they hear that. Because they, I mean, the things Sony gets accolades for are the single player story vision, story driven games
of that, right?
Yeah, with a beginning, middle, and end, like Last of Us and God of War and Tsushima and Spider-Man.
And they're looking forward to other media too, like TV shows and movies.
Oh yeah, I mean, Sony as a whole is really focusing on that, and so many of their shows and their movies are being things are being optioned into God of War show coming and Twisted Metal show coming and Last of Us show. The Uncharted movie keeps doing Uncharted did surprisingly well. If they haven't greenlit a sequel yet, they're going to soon. So yeah, Ghost of Tsushima show supposedly. Spider-Man's got some movies. I don't think that counts.
Tekken's coming out with an anime.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I remember there was a Tekken anime back in the day.
Yeah, with Street Fighter, used to have those tapes people used to pass around.
Yeah. That was back when anime felt illicit. I miss those days. Anime was this dangerous thing.
Very, very niche.
Let's go do anime under the bleachers.
It was so violent.
Yeah. Oh my god, I got a VHS with this magazine. Of Ghost in the Shell. What's this?
I mean that checks out. The anime was very graphic at the time when we were young kids, I want to say.
I miss Toonami.
That it's still there.
Yeah, I don't have TV.
Toonami's still there. It didn't go anywhere.
I don't have TV. I don't have like cartoon. I don't come home from school at like 3:30 and have that little robot like act as my dad.
I think Tom retired anyway, didn't he? He left.
Well, that was like Steve Blum. I can't imagine he's still doing that. It's like he probably has too much money to be that robot.
You know what? Steve Blum, he like co-produced something recently. Like I saw his name in the credits.
Sure he did.
No. Like some other show. It was either a live action show or Turning Red, the Disney Pixar movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. He was a co-producer on that.
Oh, that's really cool.
Like, I saw his name in the credits and was like really surprised.
Yeah, he rules.
But he's also like I watched Turning Red.
Oh yeah, what'd you think?
It's really, really good. I'm a sucker for like the Disney Pixar animated stuff already. Like I was going in like knowing it was gonna be good. But like I love how they've taken to like every single one of their movies is like kind of a focus on like this micro cultural thing. Like we'll just take a very specific demographic and just hone in on them and their life. But it's still like a overtly relatable story. Like it doesn't matter where the story's coming from. It's like situations that everyone can relate to. In this instance, is like the relationship between like the pressures of a parent who wants perfection for their child, and like the daughter wanting to please the mom versus like being themselves, right? And like they use this fantastical red panda transformation thing as a way to really deep dive on that relationship, and like it really hits, and like it was so funny. Like they, for whatever reason, they chose to set it in 2002. Which was like at the height of like the boy band craze, which made that just feel super authentic because like there's a prominent boy band related. Jamie has to step away for a second. It's cool. Yeah. So like I really loved that dynamic because it just felt so real. Like this is absolutely the situation like how this would go down. Like this would be the thing that these girls rebel over, right? Mm-hmm. But outside of that, like it's not like a musical like how Disney does. Like Pixar tends not to do that,
Mm-hmm.
but they somehow fit a bunch of cool music into it, and apparently Billie Eilish was the one who like did the the music and stuff for it.
Yeah, I saw her name, her and like her brother Phineas or whatever, like her producing brother partner thing. I don't know if that's like White Stripes thing or if they're whatever they are. I think they're brother and sister.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
I thought the movie was great. I really dug it. I feel like there was that like small like. It was one of those, like, a handful of people didn't like it for dumb reasons, and then everyone focused on those reviews. And I'm like, listen, there's, like, the positive reviews are so overwhelmingly in the majority. Like, why are we even focusing on this, like, dummy who's like, I can't understand. Yeah.
Right.
Like, I think we need to, like, let people have dumb opinions and ignore them. Like, especially if they're not a person in, like, a super prominent position, just let them have a dumb opinion and just, like,
talking about
right, whatever.
With dumb opinions gets clicks, though. And
that's the problem. Like...
Oh man, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
it's a sleazy way to get clicks, though. But yeah, I guess a lot of people don't care, but they just do what they have to.
Yeah,
I really dig.
Yeah, outside of,
Well, like ahead. Pixar stuff, a package got delivered, so I was like, well, shit, gotta grab that. Pixar stuff, I really like, to bounce off what you're saying, Casey. I really like how they're an educational tool for mainly children, but just everyone in general, on different cultures and different experiences that they may not have experienced. And I think that's wonderful. And they do it in such a funny, like you said, a fun and relatable way. But at the end of the day, cartoons back in the day, it would always, what is the message? What is the metaphor that they're trying to tell the children? Mm-hmm. Pixar movies are just massive versions of that, teaching about really complex things in fun ways, and I think they do that really, really well.
Right, it's interesting you brought that up about like the whole message thing, because like a lot of people today will claim that a lot of modern cartoons no longer have a message, and that the stuff they grew up with, like I did a whole video about this, like this nostalgia lens thing in terms of like cartoons. I remember this movie got a bit of backlash because of the animation style. Like if you've heard about this debate about like the Cal art style, where it seemed like all the cartoons of today kind of all look the same, like they have like bean mouths and whatnot. It's used like in a derogatory way, because like a lot of the new art was kind of borrowing from Adventure Time's kind of whimsical style.
Yeah, Adventure Time and Steven Universe.
Like Teen Titans Go and exactly. Like, so stuff in that vein, like Star versus the Forces of Evil. Like, there's a lot of shows that do kind of have a similar style, and yes, they're all copying off of like this kind of Adventure Time template. And this movie does also do that. Like, it's a CG version that does look like those other more animated, whimsical type stories. But the thing is, all of those shows, like all the ones that I just listed at the very least, are amazingly competent at storytelling. Like, so even if you hate the art style, that art style is very synonymous with like very quality, like highbrow storytelling within like children's cartoons. Like, this isn't like Rick and Morty or, you know, adult stuff. It's meant for kids, but they tell very interesting, compelling stories. And like, it's the same in Turning Red. Yeah. So like, when I see stuff animated like that, I kind of feel the opposite. Like, I feel like, oh, cool, I'm interested, I want to check it out. Versus, you know, it is disdain or whatever.
I didn't sort of think about it in the moment, but yeah, when I think back on Turning Red, like nothing visually really stands out, but so much of like the writing and the themes and the characterization is the stuff that'll stick with me, and that's kind of fine. Like, that's you know, I didn't think it was nearly as like visually interesting as like Encanto was, or like, I don't know, going back to Coco or something, but like the story absolutely resonated with me.
Yeah, like those like Encanto, for example, like those character models just look like everything that's come before, right? Like, so like it's more of a tradition, I guess. Like, if you're gonna do the CG route, like make it look like other CG things so that I know what this is. Yeah, Turning Red chose to be a little different. Like, I can't knock it for that, because it still gets the job done. Like, it tells a very interesting story.
Yeah, and Pixar has done a pretty good job of like throwing curveballs in terms of their animation style. Like, I thought Soul looked really cool. I thought that did a lot of you know, really interesting sort of experimental stuff with its visuals, and but it seems like, I guess there's almost like tiers of Pixar. Like, I liked Turning Red more than I liked what was the one about it was Chris Pratt and Tom Holland, that were like little goblins or ghouls.
Onward.
Onward, yeah. Like, that was one.
I actually liked that one a lot. Like, I
enjoyed it in the moment, but I haven't thought about it like
best?
at all.
I've never heard of that. What the fuck?
It came out right when the pandemic started.
It's really good. It's really good. Honestly, I really like that one. That one does get slept on. You're right.
Yeah, my son loves it. Yeah.
Yeah, they like play a couple of orcs. They're like orc brothers or like goblin brothers or something, going through sort of like a like D&D-ish world to find their dad or something.
Yeah, it's like a modern take on like a fantasy world.
Right, yeah. But they used to use
road
magic.
trip is to like, like they're trying to find their
How
dad, or they're trying to resurrect their dad.
Yeah,
I don't know. It probably didn't get advertised a lot.
Yeah, it was one of those movies where it was going to come to theaters, and then it was one of the first movies, I think, during the pandemic that got pushed from theaters straight to streaming.
Oh my!
So I mean, this came out like I think that March or April, right when shit popped off. So that's officially how they Dr. Fauci described the beginning of the coronavirus was when shit popped off.
When the shit popped off.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's his medical term. It's in the dictionaries. Look
yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna second guess the virologist. That doesn't even sound like a real word.
But I also, in terms of like stuff I've been watching, I finished Odd Taxi. That last episode threw me for a loop. Like, that is a fantastic. Like, I was already really liking the story in that, and that last episode blew my mind.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say anything. Watch Odd Taxi if you have any
Dude,
interest.
I am so glad you watched it.
Story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I started Ranking the Kings. I'm having a good time with that, but not super far into it yet. I'll just say, like, as wholesome as that main character Boshi is, that world is very dark. Like, I'm kind of concerned for like what he's gonna need to do to survive in it. That world is scary.
It's a good balance, and I love the animation. It reminds me so much of Ni no Kuni. Is like
his little like stout character. Yeah.
Yeah, so outside of that, in terms of playing, I can't talk about what I've been playing because that's for review. But check out my review for Tunic. It's fantastic. I also can't talk about Tunic because I will spoil if I really tell you about the stuff I love in that game, because that game is fantastic.
It's crazy. So I haven't gotten to this stuff yet.
I don't think you have yet.
on my second playthrough, I know I keep talking about this goddamn Forest Temple, but I'm finally back to Forest Temple. And I swear to God, I'm going to get past it. Like, I was literally almost past it before this, so.
I don't want to. I'm just not going to say anything because I feel like I'll spoil it for you. So just keep playing.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
That's that's going to be my big game of the week, so.
But yeah, is that all of us, or did someone not share?
Have you ever heard the last anime thing I want to talk about? Have you heard of Sunny Boy? Have any of you guys watched Sunny Boy or heard of Sunny Boy?
No.
I don't. I feel like I got hit in the head and that this show isn't real because no one I know has watched it. But like it won some awards, so I'm like, okay, well, it has to be real. But it was this like 12 episode series that aired last year, and it's about a high school class who suddenly their class is warped into like a black void, and so it's like their school.
You've talked about this before, though.
Yeah, I have.
You have mentioned this,
and it's this crazy. Like it feels like this mix of like David Lynch and Lost and like the existential crisis of Neon Genesis Evangelion, but it also has sort of like the easy breezy attitude of like a summer session of school, but really fucking good. Like Sunny Boy, it's Sunny with an Sonny, but highly recommend it to folks. I think it's on Funimation or Crunchyroll, probably Funimation or both now. I don't know how that works if they have the same library now or.
Yeah, someone said everything's not on there, but a lot of stuff is on there.
Yeah, but really cool stuff. If you like weird, kind of like trippy, dreamlike, like what the hell's going on stuff, highly recommend Sunny Boy.
All right, I gotta write that down because I feel like you've talked about this show more than once, but I still didn't remember that was the name.
Yeah, that and Odd Taxi were like the two things I watched in the last few years that really stood out to me. So if you dug Odd Taxi, hopefully you dig that too. They're very different.
I'm gonna write down Odd Taxi.
Ooh.
Yeah, check out Odd Taxi. It's good. It's got animals. You love animals, dude.
Oh, dude, I love animals.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I'm known for.
How do you feel about walruses? Walrusy.
Walruses, I know one.
Walry.
You know one?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
Walry.
one. He's a great kisser.
Yeah. What? Does big sloppy kisses?
That's bold of you to assume they're sloppy.
Nice. Honey Money's got Taxi waiting. Good job, Honey Money.
I haven't been playing much. I did just start watching Spaced, which is where Edgar Wright.
Got
the
start. The pre-Shaun of the Dead. Yeah.
Just watch it. Started watching that. Never really got around to it. Just started watching it. Some of it's hit and miss, but you can see where there's like Edgar Wright's editing style and camera movements are starting to creep in, and it's really entertaining to watch where they all got their start. So I'm really enjoying that at the moment. So highly recommend that. But that's it for me, really. I haven't really been playing much. Been busy.
A little busy.
Feel you on that. Yeah. But okay, let's shift the tone a little bit here. We don't have to spend a ton of time on this because I'm pretty sure we're all of the same mindset that bad working environments are bad. But I do want to just bring up this story because it's in the press right now. We talked about it at the start, but Moon Studios, these are the guys who are behind Ori, the Ori series, which has been kind of tied to Xbox, but not necessarily an Xbox exclusive like it did come to Switch. Apparently, they have some ex-employees who have called the two leads at the studio kind of overbearing, problematic. Like they've had like comments that the studio at large haven't supported, like anti-Semitic, racist sorts of things. And overall, this quote has come out that said that they foster kind of an oppressive culture. In apparently hearing about some of these stories, Microsoft elected not to continue funding Moon Studios because apparently they paid for the last two Ori games. And they are currently working on something that's supposed to be a big action RPG thing, right? If I'm not mistaken. So they have something in the works, but like now this news has hit that their working conditions kind of aren't great. Like they have perfectionist mindset. They're crunching their studio people. They're not respecting them, and folks are not happy working there. So it's leading to now this kind of exodus of support from publishers like Microsoft. My question in regards to this isn't like how do you feel about it, but like what do you think happens to studios who kind of get this sort of spotlight shown on them? Because we've seen this before. In like grand scales, like Activision Blizzard, for example, and Ubisoft, for example, but the same situation doesn't always follow. Like this is an indie studio, also not unique to them, but like in this climate, do you think, like, what do you think Moon Studios would need to do to kind of come back from this, or is this kind of the end for Moon Studios in like the grander scheme in terms of game development?
Yeah, it's the timing of this was super interesting too, because I think almost literally the same day this GamesBeat report came out, a video came out by there's a great YouTuber named People Make Games. The channel is called People Make Games, and he released like a 40-minute like expose, pretty much chronicling similar like, you know, mismanagement and emotional abuse at indie studios, Mountain Studios, like the team that made Florence. And then talking about Fulbright, and then one other studio, and it was like how even like Annapurna is sort of like turning a blind eye because they were the publisher of all these games,
right? I remember that,
and how like Annapurna is kind of like turning a blind eye to a lot of this, and like not taking the issues that are brought up seriously, and it like really fucking sucks, because especially they're coming from these studios that like people are championing as sort of like these are like the indie pioneers, and like, oh, these are like studios that are making these are the games for us. Like this isn't like the macho bulk bro culture bullshit that you expect from some of these AAA studios where we've gotten these reports, and yet you're still getting this like this sort of top down toxic mismanagement and like, you know, leadership that fails their employees. So I don't know, I think it's super sad, but every time one of these stories comes out, I hope that it's a good thing, that this will, you know, push change a little bit forward. But I guess we have to wait and see what the result of that is.
Now that funding's been pulled, I think maybe that might change some stuff. But what I'm about to say is completely my own opinion. So you always, when you start a sentence like this, it's probably going to be good.
Can't wait.
I believe they're based in Austria, and I know developers in Austria, and apparently, allegedly, the lead developer of the Ori Games Moon Studios refuses to hire Austrians because he believes they have terrible work ethic.
Oh, wow.
Which is the most baffling thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I've heard that from multiple sources.
Jesus.
And that's been known for years. He's a bit of a knobhead. My own opinion. And apparently is now mismanaging, like abusing his staff to the point where funding is being taken away. How they fix this is they get rid of the source,
the person
higher ups.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's this problem with indie in general. Like indie games usually start with a handful of people. These auteurs who are putting everything into it, and then they grow and their teams grow. And they may be wonderful individual developers, but they are terrible at managing people. They are not managers. They are artists. And their ego bloats, and they believe everything they do is the correct thing because they've come from nothing to, you know, making millions. And yeah, cut the snake's head off is right. What I say. If there's proof that they're doing it, and there's proof that they've mismanaged and abused their staff, and to the point where funding is being taken away, cut the head off. Don't punish the rest of the studio.
Yeah.
Punish the people who are doing it. But these things rarely happen because those people are in charge.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes... No, go ahead, Marty.
I was just gonna say a couple quick clarifications. Moon is like technically based in Austria, but they're even long before the pandemic, like when Ori 1 was being developed, they touted themselves as a global developer. Like they have no central office. Like they have almost like a 24-hour development cycle where they toss it off to an Israeli artist and then Japanese programmers. And
he lives in Austria, I believe.
Yeah. So that's one thing I thought was interesting, is like a lot of these stories are like, you know, when you think of like the workplace abuse, like this was all digital abuse. Doesn't make it any better or worse, just an interesting thing. And then it's not like Microsoft read this story and pulled their funding.
Yeah,
they
this
had
didn't
a
happen
relationship
like because of the
like, and apparently like he was awful in his relationship with Microsoft. Like, so like being shitty to the hand that feeds you, which just seems like that's bad, very bad leadership. And so that sort of is what like Microsoft declined to partner with them for their third game, which is now, I believe, being funded by Private Division, which is like 2K's or Take-Two's indie, newish indie label. So, yeah, that was it. Just wanted to make a few clarifications.
No, right. Thanks for that. But on what Jay Mate's point, where he was saying, like, cut the head off the snake, like, that is probably the solution here. But, like, because, like you said, it's an indie studio, it's usually a small collection of guys who created the studio, right? So, like, you're cutting the head off the snake, like, he's kind of the snake. Like, the people under him wouldn't necessarily stay because the leadership is gone. Like, he owns that studio is my best guess. So at this point, you kind of have to just have the rest, like the legs. I mean, snakes don't have legs. Like basically the tail of the snake leave, right? Like that would be the solution, because that's kind of the only option. Like especially if no one, we didn't really get into the response that they had to the allegations. Like they kind of came back and said, oh, well, we're just kind of honest and direct with our staff, and like we push them to get the best out of them. Like nothing was really like apologetic. Like they didn't seem to think that their managerial style was like wrong in any way. They kind of stated like, oh, well, other people, I guess, don't get it, but we have these amazingly critically acclaimed games as a result. So clearly we're doing something right, was kind of like their response. Right. I'm paraphrasing here. So like, don't think that they sounded that crass, but that's the vibe I got from the response that they laid out. So like that basically tells me like, no, they're not going to be looking to really change much after this. So like if their staff is working there and are unhappy, I think the best bet would be to kind of have a mass exodus, because like I don't see it changing based on that response.
Yeah, and these things do happen. The max exodus of staff members and people quitting due to abuse in the workplace. But the problem with the games industry is one of the reasons I quit is if you are not willing to do crunch, because crunch was a huge issue with Mean Studio. That was one of the things that they said was being asked of them. If you're not willing to work 7 days a week, give up on your family and put everything into the company, because one, you shouldn't be doing that, but if you're not willing to do it, well, you'll be let go, and there is a line of people who are willing to do it because they want to get into the industry. So if a mass exodus happened, they'd be replaced in a week by people who, because they could just go to anyone and be like, do you want to work on the next, it's not Ori, but for the developers of Ori and the Blind Forest, I know hundreds and hundreds of people who would murder to be on that team. So they'd just be replaced, and it's just the nature of the industry. It's just super toxic and cyclical.
Yeah, it's going to take for everybody to make a stand. It's so funny because we still have this going on with so many big names in the news. You would figure that in my company, if I have an inkling or a possibility, or even I want to avoid this from going on, I'm giving classes to everyone on sensitivity, on management, on everything. You're restructuring, like, happy employees are productive employees, whether that's putting a cappuccino machine in the break room, whether that's, lunch for everyone, whether that's, if you're going to do crunch time, it's double what you would normally make. Like, let people choose to do that as opposed to being something forced. Incentivize it. If people want to do that, then they can. But if not, you don't have to. If you don't value your employees, you're gonna run out of people. Like, I wonder if there's like it should be made clear to me as an employee, if I'm coming to interview with you, what your turnover is. Like, what was your turnover rate? How many people left, and why did they leave? Like, a lot of times now, like Indeed and different companies, they'll have people who worked at these companies go in and give surveys. Like, they'll answer a survey, how was your experience there? What was your reason for leaving? And with it being in the news now, like, who in their right mind would want to, well, like you said, some people who want to get their foot in, like,
there are people who are just desperate to get in the industry, right?
I'll take that job, but how long are they going to take that job for? How long are they going to take that abuse before, ultimately it ends in, like, unfortunately, a suicide or some type of workplace incident that no one wants? You would hope that these companies would start to restructure sensitivity training, my company, for example, they do like surveys every year to ask you how your immediate supervisor is doing. Like, what would you change? How's the communication? What would you change about the company? What do you like about the company? And actually take these things to heart and make a change to them. It's if the company is in a rocky road, like we see it is now, the only absolute answer is to take out the toxicity. But you can't if he actually owns the company. And
Yeah,
is the company
if that's the
public
lead,
or?
then. And I'm pretty
I
sure
don't think
it's
the
a
company's
private.
public, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're a small
Okay.
indie outfit.
Okay. So yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah, I
like you
don't
said,
think
it'd
it's
be a
like a
max
publicly traded thing.
expense. Whether that's going to work for Microsoft, whether that's going someplace else, is going to take people to make a stand. And I think, companies hate union, but I think sometimes a union is the answer. Someone that has your best interest at heart, that's going to make sure that these things are being done. Because while companies have HR is usually there for the company. They're there to make sure that the company does everything on the up
Is
and up, as opposed to the employee. Let's make sure we're doing everything we can for the employee. And most companies, and I would hope that carries over to game studios. If you value your employee, they will give you the best they can. Building loyalty with your employees is going to take you over the hump. If a game is behind, people doing what they can to make to help push this game out as soon as possible. I don't know. To me, I feel like it's just common sense in this day and age. Like the things you should do to show your employees that they're valued, so that way they produce for you, and that it's less of a either you do this or you don't work here situation.
I think that's maybe the root of the problem, is that like the root of why some people are just really bad managers or leaders is because they don't value the staff under them, right? Like J Mate mentioned earlier, they have an inflated ego in their mind. This is their baby, their project. All these people are just tools to make their dream a reality. And like they push them to get the best out of them is what they say, but they don't consider them people, and that you're pushing people and stressing people out. Like that's not how they look at it.
They're tools to make their
that
product
sucks.
stronger.
Right.
They're not
Yeah,
built
that
as
really
managers.
sucks.
Jeff's built as a manager and has his employees' interest in mind in everything.
Oh, thanks.
And that's very clear to see. But with a lead developer who's built this from the ground up, they're not in that mindset. They're not, like you said, Casey. They're not in the mindset of I need to make sure my employees are happy so we can make the best product we can.
It's also
like,
one of those things,
I need
like
to
those
squeeze.
usually, like if you are an insane creative like that, you usually shouldn't be the person in charge.
No,
Like
they
Hire
like
someone
another
else.
person above.
yeah, and that's
no.
when you get the problem with that's sort of like the Rockstar auteur theory problem, which we talked about with the Ken Levine story that broke a while ago, or any of these sort of indie studios that bring one, usually a guy, but sometimes not a guy, because that video I was talking about earlier, the People Make Games ones, talked about Robin Henneke from Funimania, and how like she terrorized that studio and like terrorized like the creator of Katamari Damacy. Like he would lock himself in his office and stuff. He was like he like absolutely like despised it. I'm like, this dude made Katamari. He's like a beacon of joy. How did you don't terrorize this man?
And it's funny because we hear this not only in the games industry, in the movie industry. Stuff with Josh Whedon and Justice League, like stuff on the set of that. Like you would figure that people have seen I don't want to be the guy in the news. I don't want to potentially lose my company or get blacklisted from the world. Let's make a change now. You have a meeting. You promise to change. I know things haven't been great, but I'm prepared to do whatever it takes. I'm going to take a step. I'm going to take a backseat role, and we're going to bring someone in with the proper training and the proper. Oh, thank you. Proper knowledge to help.
That sort of self-awareness, like I think that's what's missing in the first place. Like for them to be this rude or flippant to the people under them shows that they're not paying attention. Like they don't see that they're the problem to begin with. So for them to see like, oh, this studio just got in trouble for this, that, and the third, and then recognize that in themselves, like they wouldn't be acting that way in the first place, I think, if they had that level of self-awareness.
Yeah, it's their ego.
But like this is so rampant in the industry, like it's like this is happening all over because like it's this model that we follow where there's just a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of, but those are the people who get elevated. They say, "Oh, you're really good at a thing. I'm gonna put you at the top of this pedestal and have all these other people help you make your thing." And like we've been saying, like that doesn't make for a good manager. That's not like that's those two things don't equal each other, and like we've got to break out of that mindset, right?
Yeah.
Everyone can't be a Hideo Kojima.
Right.
Can
I'm just waiting for the day we have to talk about that.
Oh no, I don't know. Maybe he's also a good manager. I don't know. You can only hope.
I've met him a couple times. He seems wonderful.
Please don't let those words come back to bite him. But yeah, on that note, is there anything else on this story before we move on to the next?
No.
Hire more Austrians. They've probably got good work ethic.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really shitty thing to say and think. But yeah, let's move on to our next topic. This will probably actually be shorter than the Ori one. I thought the Ori one was actually going to be pretty short. Daredevil is getting a reboot. They've been teasing this because why did I just blank on this man's name?
Okay.
Charlie Cox.
Matt Murdock? Oh.
No, the actor's name. Yeah, Charlie Cox showed up in, and this is a spoiler if you haven't seen the latest Spider-Man movie. Like, come on, it's too much time has passed. He shows up in that, so we know that he's in that universe, but we weren't clear whether or not the old Netflix shows would still be counted as canon because they used to be, then they weren't, and now they're all coming to Disney Plus. But now that this multiverse thing has happened, everything's kind of wonky, and now we hear that there's a Daredevil reboot happening. So for you guys who have been following most of these Marvel movies, does that sound to you like they're going to be kind of starting over with Charlie Cox as like a new Daredevil introduced to this Marvel universe? Or because of the multiverse stuff, will they somehow finagle a way to make the Netflix shows remain canon and this reboot is still just going to be a continuation of Charlie Cox's Daredevil that we already know? That's like the main thing I'm mostly confused about. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
So I'll go last. I got a lot to touch on.
Okay. All right, yeah, I know Jeff is like the big comic guy.
Well, ISO for you. I imagine the casting is the casting they choose to bring over is going to remain canon, which we already saw from Kingpin in the Hawkeye series and Daredevil in No Way Home, and then rumors of possibly Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones, or even bringing Punisher or something like that, or maybe Rosario Dawson as Night Nurse. That being said, like I don't think the events of those shows are going to remain canon, even though like they are now on Disney Plus, which was funny. Last night I logged into Disney Plus for the first time since they came over, and I had to go through all this like hullabaloo to be like, yes, I can allow violence. I can allow my child to watch violence. Child, the only person on this account. Yeah,
they said it about Aladdin too. It tells you certain stereotypes were depicted in this movie that we don't.
Oh, like the original Aladdin, or Will Smith?
Wow. Okay, the original one.
Yeah.
I watched those not too long ago, and that's that's interesting.
Yeah, which I don't know. I think that's the perfect way to do it. Like, don't censor anything, but just have a little announcement if they're like a little worried about something. So yeah, and I'm glad the casting is coming through, because I think for all the problems I had with the Netflix shows, I think by and large, except for Iron Fist, they really nailed the core casting. Everyone from the villains to Luke Cage to the main defenders and everything to Punisher. So yeah, I'm curious. I don't think like, I don't know. I guess Deadpool is going to be like the main litmus test for me of like, will Disney be willing to have rated R stuff in the MCU? I can't imagine Deadpool not being rated R, but
like has that?
We know there's a Deadpool 3 coming.
Yeah,
and
Deadpool is supposed to be the only R-rated movie so far, from what Kevin Feige said.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, because I know they've announced that it's being directed by Sean Levy, the guy who did like Free Guy, and he's one of the producers of Stranger Things. And he just did that Adam project that's because, with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, because he and Ryan Reynolds have just become real buddy recently.
Yeah, they've been doing a bunch of movies together.
So I'm assuming this is more Ryan Reynolds is kind of in control, and he's just like bringing along his buddy director.
I think he had as much control over the Deadpool movies as like pretty much any actor has had in their superhero movies. Like he's very much synonymous with them, which I think is cool because I know he clearly loves that character. He was willing to
he
go through the hell of X-Men Origins to get to it. So,
so yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I can agree. In my mind, like I think there's been rumors about like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and stuff like that. I could see them trying to pivot away from the Defenders and doing more solo stuff, like just Daredevil by himself, and kind of just having nods to those things, so they can. They love doing their tiny little cameos, their tiny little nods to certain things because it gets all this traffic. They love it, and I think they're going to try and stretch that out as much as possible. But like you said, I think everything apart from Iron Fist was wonderfully cast. Really, really well done. So I would love for them to come over. I just want to know what they're going to do with X-Men. I could see them just taking these Hulk off and just being like, okay, cool, that's great. I could see that working in the MCU. Like Charlie Cox just coming in Spider-Man just felt right. Yeah, it was like this should be here. It didn't feel wrong.
They're also like really. It feels like they're really focusing. Like the MCU does that smart thing where it seems like they have almost like different pools they play in. Like they have the cosmic pool over here. They have the sort of like terrorism world threat over here, and then they have the more ground level stuff, which they're working on now, which we saw in Hawkeye. We're going to get with the Echo show, and that's sort of where a lot of the Defenders, like even No Way Home, sort of like ended on a very like street level. Like where it left Peter Parker was very much like, okay, I could see him playing in this pool while Captain Marvel is over here in space, along with Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor and everything.
And I like that.
Yeah, so do I. So in regards of X-Men, I don't think we're going to see X-Men for a very long time.
I don't either, but I'm really intrigued to see how they're going to do it, and the more stuff is exactly how they're going to do it. I think.
Yeah.
How introduce it that way. But because like we're getting in what was it?
Doctor Strange.
Multiverse of Madness. We're getting a lot of stuff with Scarlet Witch, and they could do some weird House of M stuff where they're trying to like twist that and introduce some, like, instead of getting rid of mutants, we can introduce mutants.
Like the opposite of No More Mutants.
And I could see that going really well, but I just want to see how they're going to do it. Like, how are they going to cast things? How are they going to is it going to be in TV shows, incredibly movies?
Patient. We all were expecting this to happen like several projects ago, and
every movie that comes out, we're expecting it to happen. Is this when we're going to see mutants? Is this when we're going to see mutants?
I genuinely think one of the reasons they're not doing it is Hugh Jackman, because they know they can't recast. They have to cast Wolverine because
wait till he's dead.
Apparently, in the movies, Wolverine is the only character that matters, which is completely baffling because X-Men is massive and has so many incredible characters. But Hugh Jackman is synonymous with that role, and you couldn't recast him. Anyone who got cast as Wolverine, there'd be complete backlash. And I reckon that's one of the reasons they're like, we need to find some way to do this. Like, how are we going to do this?
It's funny because like they've already announced, and John Watts, the guy who directed the 3 Spider-Man movies, is on the Fantastic Four movie, and so I feel like that's their next big thing to introduce. Is obviously stuff like Blade and everything and She-Hulk, but Fantastic Four, I feel like that's one of those. There's no need for them to do X-Men yet because that's their next like giant sort of event introduction.
Yeah, and I'm chill with that because X-Men have had, X-Men movie-wise have had their ups and downs, but Fantastic Four have only had downs. So
they've had a couple downs. Yeah, a lot of downs.
I'm really looking forward to see a good depiction of the Fantastic Four.
Wait, they suck just in general?
They just doesn't like the They've always been the most boring, corny superhero team I've ever seen. Like just whack as shit. Why do people like Fantastic Four? I don't get it.
I like good Fantastic Four.
Right.
I mean, I think I like good.
They've never been good.
Fantastic Four.
That was my first introduction to comics. Was the Fantastic Four cartoon that used to come on on TV.
Yeah, and I used to love all those Marvel cartoons. That one sucked.
It definitely wasn't as good as like X-Men or Spider-Man.
Right?
Or Iron Man, or like Iron Man had a cartoon at that time too. It was great.
I do not
Weird
remember
how
an
that
Iron
was
Man
the only
cartoon.
one
I
that
remember the
wasn't.
Iron Man cartoon. You had the Mandarin. Mandarin looked like he was like a green elf or something. He had like pointy ears. It was
Probably
super
better
weird.
than like leaning into the racist things. So
Right. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I just make them green.
Figured out how they're going to introduce the X-Men into the MCU. So they're making they're basically rebooting the animated series for X-Men.
Yeah.
They're
Yes.
just going to hard copy them from their 2D animations and just like rotoscope them
Aquaman.
into live
It's gonna be
action.
like, it's gonna be like Who
And
Framed
that's
Roger
the
Rabbit.
multiverse. Yeah. Come on.
It worked. It
That's-
I
works.
think it'd be great.
I mean that's how they would get probably Sony's Spider-Verse characters in there, right? It
There
makes
we go.
sense. It all
There
checks
we go.
out.
Let's just
I-
do Frame Roger Rabbit. This.
Could you? I could imagine if they're doing this weird multiverse stuff. I could imagine an animated character coming through and like literally having like animated Miles
Yeah,
Morales
that's right.
pop into Multiverse of Madness. If there's like a giant weird like multiverse battle at some point.
Do it.
I think that's
Commit.
the plan. They're definitely working on the Spider-Verse
Sequels?
event. Yeah.
Yeah,
Spider-Verse event, yeah. So they're definitely going to work on that because from what I've heard, there might be Tom Holland showing up in the Into the Spider-Verse too.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
So they're supposed to touch
Live
on-
action
If he's
in the
fully
animated
live
movie?
action.
Well, no, he's gonna be
That would be great.
animated, but it's supposed to touch on. He's supposed to go,
Just really
I don't know
poorly green screened in. That would be absolutely.
Like looking
Fun.
like you in your anatomy videos.
Yeah, dude.
Actually, I do that intentionally. It's the cool effect, actually.
I didn't mean. I know. I think it works really well.
It was mad
Yeah,
shade.
but it's just Tom Holland. It's like, all right, I'm Spider Man. Oh, it swings out. Done, sorted.
But
Yeah.
for Daredevil, I don't think they're gonna go back and tell his story again. I think it's gonna be something they're gonna continue with, and it's on Disney Plus if you want to watch it. But this is now our Daredevil. You can tell from the Spider-Man No Way Home part where he showed up, he's actually actively Daredevil. You saw when he caught the brick.
Yeah.
And he gave you.
I mean, he can't like turn his ability off though.
No.
Like, isn't he
No.
always like actively?
I'm inactive Daredevil.
You can kind of tell. I mean, if he got hit with the brick, you're like, that's just Matt Murdock ain't got the powers.
I don't know.
And just-
How does his face look? Because I'm having trouble remembering. Like, did he have like cuts and stuff? Because that would have told me that he was still doing stuff. If he had like a bruise on his face or whatever.
Well,
No, I
I
think
don't
he
know.
looks
That was
fine.
that was like year one Daredevil. So, that's like year one Batman. He's not very good at what he's doing. He's just kind of taking a punch and giving a punch. This might be a more seasoned Matt Murdock, where he's not getting hit
Where
as
he don't
much.
get hit.
Right. And you saw with Kingpin,
Maybe.
he wasn't as like. He didn't have his cuff. Well, he had cufflinks on, but he had like a Hawaiian shirt on. This isn't like the same Kingpin.
Yeah, I don't like what they did with Kingpin, and that was the thing I want to bring up. Like, if they're gonna play in like this street level pool, the street level wasn't part of Disney's bag. That was part of Netflix's bag, right?
Yeah.
Very
And
true,
so
yeah.
far, the street level version of characters that Disney has done has not been good. I did not like Hawkeye. I thought that plot and like those like tracksuit mafia guys and the Kingpins involved, I thought all of that was really cheesy and actually like quite uninteresting. So if that's the kind of level that they want to put Daredevil at going forward, like I'm a little worried because like it's not as gritty and it's not as interesting as what came before.
I enjoyed Hawkeye. I thought it was funny. I thought it had its moments. I do think they're gonna make it to where Daredevil and Echo cross paths because they did in the
definitely.
comics. So yeah, it was a whole series with that. Without going too far into it, but I think they're definitely going to cross paths because the common denominator is Kingpin. And this isn't the same Kingpin we saw when he tore off a door. Yeah, he was strong in the Daredevil series, but he wasn't like ripping off car doors and taking full-on explosions in the face
Yeah,
and
like
surviving.
the man
So,
blew up in an enclosed
Right.
space and walked away.
he's definitely like the animated Spider-Man cartoon Kingpin, where he was actually like very, very strong. Like he'd go toe to toe with Spider-Man. So that's
Yeah. Even like the Kingpin in the game,
Right,
in like the
exactly.
Spider-Man game, is like crazy tough.
Just leave out Iron Fist. Leave him out. Didn't work. But this allows
Yeah, I wanted to say.
Yeah, he just wasn't good.
It was like you guys kept mentioning, like the casting has been spot on, with the exception of Iron Fist. The casting in Iron Fist was great, except for Danny Rand.
For him. Yeah.
Yes,
I think
Iron
his
Fist.
portrayal of Danny Rand was bad. He was supposed to be the best martial artist almost in the world, pretty much. But he was constantly losing. He was constantly, crying
He
here
was
and
just
there, making
annoying. Yeah, like he was just oh my god, he was annoying.
Whiny bitch.
Like like spoilers for Iron Fist, but Colleen Wing becomes the Immortal Iron Fist at the end of that series. She's immediately a much better Iron Fist as soon as she gets that ability at the end of that series. Like I was hopeful that if they did more Iron Fist, it would just leave Danny Rand's character in the dust and like it would just be Colleen Wing, because that would have been a much more interesting story. So I don't know if they'll bring any of that back.
How would you feel if they did? How would you feel if they just because pretty much with the multiverse, this allows them to pick and choose what they want to keep. So what if they just pull Colleen over? Like, she's always been the Iron Fist.
Yeah, I'd be perfectly fine with that. I think that's a good call. Make Colleen Wing like your canon Iron Fist and like have that character going forward. But the thing is, like, is Iron Fist like was Iron Fist that important of a character? Like I think it was like that friendship between him and Luke Cage that I think it kind of helped.
It was supposed to go into that
story. Heroes for Hire.
Right. It's supposed to go into the Chase, who actually were supposed to be ushering. They were like ushering in the Iron Fist. So when Styx, that whole organization that Styx worked for, actually were supposed to be like the envoy of the Iron Fist who was supposed to come and stop the Hand. So that was supposed to be that connection, but it never really played out. But also Heroes for Hire, like Big Biggity said, was supposed to be a big thing. Was supposed to be like ground level heroes, but like the Netflix shows went into a different direction. Like even in the Luke Cage, he became kind of like the Godfather of Harlem or whatever it was. Like that was a weird route.
That was a weird place to put him at the end of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I mean, if you're going purely based on like power sets, like does Iron Fist do anything that Shang-Chi didn't?
Very true.
And that's another thing. Shang-Chi now,
obviously they're very different characters, but like and Shang-Chi worked really well, and clearly they're going to be, that movie had they already announced a sequel or a spin-off or whatever, and he clearly is like being folded into the Avengers or whatever. So I don't know when he's going to show up next, but
But is that a different lane as well? Because that's more like mysticism and magic.
Yeah,
right?
like I mean, he's fighting dragons at the end of it, so clearly he's going to be like Doctor Strange, sort of that, sort of the magic angle. But
and it's supposed to look like that the place that Shang-Chi's mom was from was supposed to be one of the 7 kingdoms of heaven, like those kind of places that sit outside,
like that secret city where.
Yeah, so they might be connected to Tao Lo. So it's a possibility they might go that route, but also. I don't think no one's asking for Iron Fist. I think they'd just be happy with the Shang-Chi.
Yeah, it's also crazy how many projects they have in the works. Not only just announced, but like unannounced. Like it is wild. It just feels like this Jenga tower that hasn't fallen down yet. And like I keep assuming it's going to fall down, but at a certain point, I'm like, well, maybe it just literally never will.
We got
it's too big to fail now.
Yeah.
Moon Knight's coming out March 30th.
Yeah, Moon Knight's in like a week. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you have Obi-Wan Kenobi. Then you have Miss Marvel.
That's a different. He's not in Marvel. What are you talking about?
No, I just mean like as far as like this guy, that'd be pretty cool though. Jedi's and
like we can't even pretend like that's not a possibility. Like they won't down the line just decide. Hey,
that's what a multiverse is.
I can't wait for episode 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, where 2D Professor X shows up and he's like, you've got to join the X-Men.
Or a portal opens up in Multiverse of Madness and Woody from Toy Story comes out like, stick him up, partner.
Like when he comes out the box
and snake in my boot.
He just sucks back in. Oh god.
Clearly we can't talk about just the Daredevil project without bringing up all of Marvel and even Star Wars, because that's how interconnected all this bullshit is.
Right.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm excited because I do love Charlie Cox's Daredevil. So I'm at the very least glad that he's still working and portraying that character. Hopefully it's good, but
I agree.
I don't know. I'm excited.
I'm not sure that man exists outside of Daredevil. I don't think I've literally ever seen him in anything else.
No, he's in Stardust.
He was in Stardust.
Was he really?
Stardust.
He's the main character in
That was the Neil Gaiman movie. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was like 15 years ago, though, right?
That's a fucking good movie.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters and enjoyed it.
He has a cameo in Downton Abbey.
What we do?
Downton. He's downtown. Does he play Downtown Abigail?
No, it's a cameo. He plays a down low gentleman who basically is extorting one of the staff for sex. So not So Far Cry from Daredevil.
Wow, that's not great.
That's like the opposite of Daredevil. Can he see? Can he see as well? He's literally Bizarro. Daredevil.
But yeah, I saw him and I was like,
Stardust.
It's fucking Daredevil. Daredevil. Fucking.
He's got nice flowing locks in Stardust.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I want to see Charlie Cox with long hair.
Well, have I got to move?
But anyway, I think that's it.
2007 Stardust.
I think that does it for our Daredevil stuff. We can get into Hogwarts Legacy now. Sony, like we already knew this game was coming for quite a while, but this is the most we've seen by far of what this game actually will be. I'm assuming all you guys watched the state of play.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? I know J-Mate's excited. I'll let him calm down a little bit.
I'm gonna do it, Jeff, and I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll let J-Mate go a little later. Jeff, how about
Jeff?
you?
How do you feel? Yeah.
Wait. So this is PlayStation only, right?
No, actually, it's multi-platform.
It just happened to be.
Sony has the.
So
like they they pay to have like the advertising rights or whatever. So like.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited about it. I think it'll be cool. A Harry Potter MMO, I think it's going to be huge, especially if it's done right.
Well, it's not an MMO.
Not an MMO, single player.
Oh, it's not an MMO, single player.
Yeah, they said single player, no microtransactions. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I don't know. Then I think I'll have to hold my my opinion to actually see someone else play it. Like I like Harry Potter. I love the movies, Fantastic Beasts, and all that stuff. I just don't know how much fun I would have in a single player Harry Potter game.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks really good. It looks beautiful. I think they nailed a lot of the aesthetics, like the wands, the magic, like the world. Like it just looks really good from the trailer. Like I'm interested to see, because I feel like somebody else was. No, never mind. I'm thinking about Wizards 101. Never mind. That MMO.
Think about Wizards of Waverly Place.
That wizard like MMO game.
Yeah.
It's like kids.
Oh yeah, that's like a. that is so different from what this is.
Isn't that like Club
You
Penguin?
were thinking of yeah, it's like it's like Maple Story.
It looks good. It looks
I was thinking of Habbo Hotel. Sorry.
Right, like I just don't know if. Obviously, if it comes out and people are like, the gameplay is really good, it's really, really great, I'll definitely give it a try. I just don't see myself, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to pre-order or, like, I'm getting this day one. It might be like a week two just to see how it plays. And if it has, like, a really good story and it's, like, really good gameplay mechanics, I'll definitely check it out.
Okay, so, like, you're not sold on just the, like, being able to live in the Wizarding world, even as a Harry Potter fan. Because I remember you even, like, read the books when we were younger.
Yes, but it's been so long since I was at that peak to where, like, yes, I want this. Like, so, like, It's been so long in between that I'm
waited
just
too
not right for me. Okay. It's like Avatar 2's coming out with the blue people, James Cameron. I'm not excited about that. It's been like 10 years since the first one. Like, I don't even know if most people even know what it is. Like, It's been so long. When things get pushed back and it takes so long to come out, that I just completely lose interest in the IP to like.
I feel you.
Yeah.
All right, interesting. How about you, Marty? How are you feeling about the Wizarding world?
Complicated.
Wizard 101.
I'm feeling very complicated with the Wizards of Waverly Place game that's coming out. First off, they said it's coming to Switch. That can't be real. That's not true.
Yeah.
That video game can't be coming to Switch. Like, if they couldn't do Kingdom Hearts natively on Switch, how are they going to do this game on Switch? Two. I thought I was a big Harry Potter fan. I read the books. I loved the movies. The series was very important to me. I think the Fantastic Beasts movies are pretty bad, but whatever.
Great.
Three. I think the game looks wonderful. Like I was incredibly impressed by how good this demo was, especially after like several years of weird leaks and the game going AWOL for a long time and some development trouble. I think the game, like legitimately, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, like what do I want from a Harry Potter adjacent video game, it would have been this. Like it looks incredible. I love the sort of social elements it seems to be taking from stuff like Bully and Persona. I love, like leaning into the movie's aesthetic, which I thought did a fantastic job of like setting up what that world looks like and the rules. I don't know what the combat I wasn't 100% sold on because like it looked kind of neat, but I literally don't know how that's going to feel. Like, what is that combat? What does wand combat feel like? Like, is it more like, I don't know, some of the combat almost seemed like Final Fantasy VII Remake, where it was almost like slightly turn-based. So, curious about that. Game looks great. That being said, like the J.K. Rowling of it all is very hard for me to parse from.
I see folks bringing that up in chat. Like we'll get into that a little bit.
Yeah, from the game itself, and it's been that way since the start. Since she like absolutely went off her rocker and not only made a dumb comment, but double down, triple down, quadruple down, continues to like it's not one of those things. I understand death of the artist. I understand trying to separate art from the person who made it, and people bring up H.P. Lovecraft all the time, but the difference there is that H.P. Lovecraft is dead and is no longer profiting off those works, whereas J.K. Rowling is very much alive and is very much directly profiting off these works.
And it's like
if her name is never
enjoying
mentioned
derivatives of H.P. Lovecraft stuff, like this Lovecraftian. Like there's not really works that are J.K. Rowling in
Rowlingian,
right? So.
Yeah, and I don't think it's like I think there's a really great piece they put up. Someone wrote for GameSpot, where a really long sort of like put up this week.
Let me put that link right in the chat.
Toss that in chat. A really great history of like what this whole issue is and breaking it down because it is a very long and complicated issue. And I think one of the important things that article says is also, listen, if you're excited for this game, if you're a Harry Potter fan, if you want to play this, that doesn't make you bad. That doesn't make you wrong. Like it is a very complicated situation without clear-cut answers. And if you choose to not want to play this game and engage with it because of your views on J.K. Rowling, or if you say, you know what, I want to support the developers, I want to separate the art from the artist, that like both of those, in my opinion, are valid. Like it's a personal opinion you have to make. And honestly, I don't know what my opinion on it is yet. Like we didn't really cover this that much at The Escapist. We didn't do like a live stream on it. Granted, like Casey and I were streaming Dead Space at the time of this. So, I don't know if we were free, if we would have done a live stream on it, but we didn't do no one like wrote anything about it. We haven't talked about it on the site yet. So, I don't know. I think it's a really tough issue. I don't know if I'm going to play this game when it comes out. So that's my thoughts.
Right. Makes sense. Like I've made it, before we get to J Mate's opinion, like, I made it very clear, like, I like Harry Potter. I don't love it. Like I'm not like a massive fan. Like I think the movies are fine. Never read the books. I think overall, it's never struck me as something that would be good fodder for a video game. Like I feel like I've said that like the combat like with the magic looks dumb to me. Like that being said, the way it's portrayed in the trailer does actually look a lot more interesting than I've seen like in any of the movies. Like that looks a little bit more entertaining. But in the grand scheme, like that's not all you do in that game. Like in that game, you're really like role playing as a Harry Potter student. And that doesn't really appeal to me because I've never been that engrossed in the world. Like I like the story that they tell, but I don't necessarily want to be a student in Hogwarts. Like that was never like a dream of mine, right?
For some reason, I love games where you're students. I don't know why. Put me to school. Put me to school in every game.
So to go back to school.
I mean, it's not.
Yeah, maybe I just go back to like community college.
Go back to your childhood.
Yeah, just learn some new shit. Yeah,
I think we figured this one out.
A game set in community college probably wouldn't be as exciting as like set in a magical universe.
I don't know. Is it set in Dan Harmon's community?
Yeah, community to game.
Yeah. Ooh, I'd play that. Yeah. Okay.
I would absolutely play that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what I want to say is like to me, it looked like if you are a Harry Potter fan, like if you love that world, this looks like everything you've been asking for. Like the way I'm always asking, like, oh, I wish Nintendo would fix online in Smash is like what they just did a list of all the things people wanted for Harry Potter, right? Yeah. So like that makes me excited for the potential of like that fan base being pleased, but like. It hasn't changed my opinion in terms of like my perception of like Harry Potter as a game. Like it still to me seems a little bland and uninteresting. But J-Mate, let me hear your opinion because I feel like you feel differently.
Oh yeah,
yeah, boy. Okay, right. So I completely understand where you're coming from with maybe you don't feel like it will transition well into a video game. I disagree. In the sense that I think a lot of the aspects of the Harry Potter world or the Wizarding world transition quite well into video game mechanics. So, like herbology being a crafting system, or the animals and the like fantastic beast element for like farming animals. The spell system itself is its own inbuilt combat system, with abilities that you would gain in a Metroidvania are spells you would gain in the Wizarding world. There's an inbuilt Bayonetta style witch time counter with Protego, the spell to counter spells. There's a lot of stuff you can do with spells in a combat system. It just needs to be done well. I do agree that there are things in that trailer that worry me. For me, there are two games here that they're trying to smush into one. There's a Harry Potter Hogwarts school-based game where it is about narrative and story and going to lessons and learning to become a wizard. And there's the weird Witcher-style open-world exploration game that it's very weird to see a Hogwarts student. And I know Harry did this in the series, but it's very weird to see a Hogwarts student, a fifth year, out by themselves in the wild, fighting giant creatures and dark wizards by themselves, not accompanied by. I know they in the gameplay they had them accompanied by a. I think it was Dippet, the headmaster.
Companions.
Yeah.
Like one of the teachers, you mean?
Yeah.
One of the teachers is taking them out on certain expeditions because they have this strange power that they've never seen before or in many years and stuff. I think there are two games here. I'm worried that they're stretching themselves too thin, and that the side is going to be very lackluster. Like there's only going to be a handful of lessons to go to, and they're going to be repeating the same kind of boring mini game. One of the things that worried me was like they were doing potions and the mini game was move the analog stick around, which is the generic doing a potions motion. I'd like to see it. I wish this was a PS5 exclusive because they could do some really interesting stuff with the PS5 controller and the everything to do with that. I'm worried. I also worried about the combat. That I do think the spells transition well into a combat system, but in the gameplay, I feel like the spell system works really well on a dueling perspective,
like one-on-one thing. Okay.
Having to choose the right spells for the right situation based on your environment and the opponent. I was actually when I was at uni, I was prototyping a Harry Potter dueling fighting game, which had similar rules. Well, it has to have similar rules because it's Harry Potter, but I feel like when you watch the gameplay, there's a lot of you dueling one person and all 10 of their friends watching you do it and waiting for their opportunity to sling a spell at you. And that seems really bad. Again, going with Harry Potter rules working well in games, the fact that wizards don't have to, but very commonly have verbiage based on what spell they're using is great. That's an audio signifier for spells coming at you so you can counter them. I think the system could work really well. It just looks like they're trying to do this big, there are 10 guys in a courtyard and you have to fight all of them. And it's like, that's a very Witcher RPG thing. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want to see one dark wizard. I want to duel them. And I want it to be this arena that I have to figure out what spells to use, like a puzzle, right? You can use Wingardium Leviosa or Bombarda or whatever. I fucking love Harry Potter. I think it could be really good. I just think they're trying to do too much. I feel like they tried to make a Witcher-style RPG based in the Wizarding world, and then the executives at Warner Brothers went, well, you can't not have Hogwarts, so add that. And they're like, well, what are we going to do? We'll make them a fifth year? I mean, it's kind of clever how they've made them a fifth year, and they're starting Hogwarts in their fifth year because of their age. So they have to fast track them and teach them things quickly.
Yeah.
That's really smart.
Yeah, and so you have those like side lessons you do that like sort of catch you up on things, and so it makes sense for a player avatar.
Yeah. And I dig that. I don't know if they deliver on what they are showing, which is the Hogwarts side and the open world side. I mean, seeing them ride around on brooms and on hippogriffs in the open world just lit my fucking soul on fire. I was like, yes. Like, we haven't had proper open world broom flying in any game yet. As far as I know, somebody might correct me. But that just makes me so excited. But I'm just worried that they're trying to do too much. It's too much.
It's also like, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask, like, would it please you if, yeah, maybe they are doing too much, but one of the two things knocks it out of the park? Like, if the open world is fun and fantastic explorer, you're fine with that. If the classes are a little downplayed, or vice versa, like if the class management stuff is like super engaging and like you feel compelled and like, oh, I really feel like a Hogwarts student, but the open world is kind of like empty, like would that be okay?
See, yeah, my opinion's quite warped on this because I would be fine with that. I'd be like, if it made me feel like I was a Hogwarts student, that's a lot of the fantasy of Harry Potter. I personally am not into the whole going to. I mean, I'm the opposite of Marty in this sense. I don't want to go back to school. I like the wizarding world. I like the idea of the world of Harry Potter and wizards living their lives and everything that comes with that, like dark wizards, auras, the Ministry of Magic. That stuff fascinates me. The actually learning stuff in the school doesn't. But it would be cool to kind of experience that and feel that. But I guess I would be happy, but if any percentage of this game was good, I'd probably be like, oh, I'm so happy that this game is really good, guys. Isn't it great? This is probably the one game I try my very best in everything I do to be unbiased and be like, I will look at it on its own merits and I will analyze it. Like, I will analyze the game design. It's like, I'm just going, this is fucking great. This is a great game.
Your anatomy title is just going to be, why is Hogwarts Legacy so perfect?
Yeah. Why can't this game get any lower than a 10 out of 10? And why you're wrong.
It's also like Avalanche Studios, the developer behind it, doesn't have the most incredible pedigree. Like they did the Disney Infinity games, which I think were really neat, but like
they were kind of slept on for how many mechanics they kind of stuffed into that toys to life thing.
Yeah, and they were like very much like, it was almost impressive in how much of a kitchen sink those games were, but like that's their pedigree. And then they did like a bunch of ports and sort of smaller games and like Rugrats games and Rampage games and platform. Like they have they've never done like a proper big old 3D like everyone let's talk about this game thing. And so like we don't really have like something to compare this to.
And that's what I'm worried about. It's just a lot of people have been saying the game looks great, and I agree with that. Like there were scenes where I was like, "This is stunning. This is really pretty." But whenever they showed gameplay in the gameplay trailer, my brain went, "God, I hope this isn't coming out this year. I hope it's coming out 2023."
I don't think this is coming out this year. When you announce, if I hear anything is holiday 2022, I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah, and I hope so, because I was watching it with a friend. My housemate was watching it with me. I was like, I hope the release date isn't this year, because all of the gameplay systems I've seen, the combat, the potions, the flying, like there's a bit where they're flying on the broom, and I really loved it. I was like, oh my God. But then it lingered for like 5 seconds longer, and the broom is like stuttering, like the animation is broken. And I'm like, this isn't cooked. This isn't ready. Please don't come out this year. And it said holiday 2022. And Marty's completely right. It isn't coming out this year.
Yeah.
Or it is.
Yeah,
and it's going to be
yellow notices that says like, we're gonna have to push it back. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Put the image on Twitter. Yeah.
Right.
Add it to the list.
That's what I hope for, because I reckon if they pull this off, it could be really good. And it could start a new era of Wizarding World games where they don't need to take place in bloody Hogwarts.
Right, because Hogwarts isn't the only school. Like we learned that in Goblet of Fire, but like
there's loads of you
got to be a
and
British.
I think we just need to get away from schools.
Right.
Yeah.
The most exciting things about this entire game for me is watching I mean, it's a student, but watching a wizard explore a world of fantastic beasts and magic and unknown things to us. Like, we know Hogwarts. We've been there for yonks in so many books, so many films. Take us away, take us into the rest of the wizarding world and show us something new. Like, maybe that will, I know that it's a complicated issue with J.K. Rowling and stuff like that, but maybe exploring the expanded universe, kind of similar to Star Wars, expand it, let other people write and explore more of this world, which is basically just Earth, but with magic.
Yeah.
And just let us see that rather than just defaulting back to Hogwarts every time.
But yeah, on that note with the JK thing, because like folks have been bringing it up, where Deep Scroll specifically said like if they feel like even 1 cent of profit from this goes towards J.K. Rowling, like they're not touching it. Like I feel like that's a perfectly fine stance to have. Like I don't know what the breakdown is, personally, but yeah, either way, like I'm my assumption is J.K. Rowling is still alive. Like they're the owner or the creator of the franchise. Like she's probably seeing some sort of compensation for
100%.
Absolutely, 100%.
Right, like they like there wouldn't be any way to actually deny her that because she did create it. So like regardless of how you feel about what she's saying, that's just kind of the reality. But what I will say is, like that article mentioned, like I don't think you're a bad person if you're excited for this, if you want to pay to play this game or whatnot, because as an adamant Kanye fan, like I'm very very well versed in trying to separate the artist from the art.
Death of the author is a very complex issue.
Yeah,
right. Like it's not just this situation; it happens all over the place, and like it's kind of like that old argument where it's like, oh, is art like by the artist or like for the viewer of the art or whatever, right? Like the interpretation, the meaning, like who, like once it's done, it's kind of released out into the world and it's interpreted like by the people and like it's enjoyed by the people. And that's kind of its own unique experience. Like there's things you probably enjoy, like music, pictures, whatever, where you have no idea where it came from or who made it, but that doesn't change how you feel about that thing. This is a case where you have information that just sours it in your mind. And if that's too much for you, it's perfectly fine to leave it alone. Like if that's how you feel. But if it doesn't, you're not a bad person. Like, because if we're going to go logically, J.K. Rowling is going to still be rich.
Right.
Yeah.
Like she's not going to lose the money she already has from this massive worldwide phenomenon because you're boycotting. And I understand it's symbolic. Please do so if that's how you feel.
Yeah.
But like if you're like, I need to stop J.K. Rowling and I'm going to make her go broke, that probably won't work. Like just from a logic standpoint.
I'm genuinely, I would not be surprised, although I don't know if this is feasible, if someday we wake up and there's a news story that Warner Brothers bought the rights to the entire Harry Potter franchise from her for $2 billion. Something similar to Disney buying the rights to Star Wars from George Lucas.
Right.
And I don't know if that, that for those same people who don't want to play the game because of her, if that would forever sour their mouth, being like, this is blood money. Like anything I do now, this property was bought, to pay a transphobic person $2 billion to leave it. But I just feel like that's ultimately, I feel like that's ultimately just what is going to happen down the road. Because I feel like the Harry Potter endgame for them is probably at a certain point to redo the entire series as an HBO Max 7-season thing. Right. I think that's like their end game for what they want to do for Harry Potter is reboot the 7 books as a 7-series show for, that'll last a decade on HBO Max, and you'll be able to hit every single beat from the books and then fold in, other stuff. I feel like that is their ultimate goal with this. And I just don't know if they could do it while her shadow kind of lingers in the background like fucking Nosferatu.
I think it's what needs to happen. I'm a massive Harry Potter nerd. I love that shit. I don't agree with anything J.K. Rowling has said or her stances on anything. But I am one of those people who, to a certain degree, can separate art from the artist and be like, I've enjoyed this my entire life. It is a huge part of my childhood and probably who I am. So I can't really let go of it. It's part of me. So I'm going to enjoy it. But like Casey said, on the other side, if anyone I know boycotts J.K. Rowling, I completely understand their stance, and I agree with them. Do it. More power to you. I completely agree. It's just I can't let go of that love for that. And I think if Warner Brothers did buy Harry Potter, the rights to Harry Potter in the Wizarding World from J.K. Rowling, it would be kind of ideal. We've seen from Fantastic Beasts, J.K. Rowling doesn't give a fuck about the stuff she's written anymore. There's massive plot holes in those films. And they're not great. She doesn't give a shit. And there are people who work for Warner Brothers who are working on Pottermore and stuff like that, who, like, at this point, kind of have a deeper understanding of the stuff she's written, and probably could write crazy, awesome new stuff for the series. So I think it would be a wonderful thing if it was just kind of taken out of her grasp, because she does have a very, very, very tight iron claw on Harry Potter right now.
Yeah. And I could absolutely see a world where there ends up being like a Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau-esque figure who becomes the like shepherd of this thing, or Kevin Feige, someone who becomes synonymous with the brand. That's not her, which I think would be gret. Also, if you want Harry Potter the game this year, just go to Raya Academy, and just get your ass kicked.
Right.
If they were in the Goblet of Fire, if they were in the Triwars tournaments, they would have smoked all those.
Oh man.
Oh my god!
Everyone else would be dead.
Yeah, those weird Burger King men would have came through.
She had an egg though as well, didn't she? She was literally in the Triwars
tournament.
Tournament.
Chicks on the floor. I was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I didn't see that fight before I got in." I'm like, "What the heck is going on?" Like,
that's what the Hufflepuff common room looks like.
I've wandered into the wrong bathroom. I need to get the fuck out of here.
The Bayonetta comes out the sky, and I'm like, this is the wrong game.
There's even a dragon outside. Wow, that is just
right.
Michael Zacke just watched Goblet of Fire and was like, "Oh, let's do this."
Yeah, let's do that. Let's just put that dungeon there.
Yeah,
perfect.
Well, we're seeing that with like
it worked.
The Lord of the Rings series, the Tolkien series on Amazon, and it's so weird with that because that's like Lord of the Rings adjacent. Apparently, they didn't buy the rights to that era specifically, so they can tell a story built around the Second Age, but they can't tell it verbatim.
It's so weird because they haven't got the rights to the Silmarillion, and they can't touch anything. They can't touch anything to do with the Lord of the Rings either, because that's owned by whoever.
What's the guy's name?
So they've got to bounce between them, but they've also got the blessing of the Tolkien estate. Oh, fucking what?
It's so weird. It's like they have Tolkien experts, historians working on it, so that way they can tell a story that doesn't go over the copyright.
I mean, it's kind of like you see a similar thing with Marvel. Like they said they couldn't make a solo Incredible Hulk movie because Disney doesn't own it, and then the whole thing with Spider-Man rights, and getting those Sony characters, or how there's now a Sony, like the Morbius bullshit over here. Like, what a dumb movie! What a dumb movie! Jared Leto, what are you doing? What a dumb movie!
Yeah, that movie looks like it's gonna be terrible. Honestly,
yeah, it might be.
Yeah,
it's real confusing.
Like when a franchise grows that big and that amount of money stands to be made from it, then it starts to get messy like that, where people they don't care what piece of it they can get, they just want a piece of it, and then they'll do what they can with it, right? So far, I think the Harry Potter stuff is only split into the two right now, right? It's like Harry Potter proper, and then this Fantastic Beasts timeline stuff. So like,
well, they're all in the same,
but they're.
It's all the same world.
They're all in the same.
Like anything Harry Potter is canonical.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry, Jay. Was I wrong?
I just had a brainwave. I'm fucking okay. I haven't started watching it yet, but Casey, I know you're really into it's like a volleyball anime.
Oh, Haikyuu.
Haikyuu. Yes.
Right. Okay. Here we go. Rights get sold. Right. JK gets given 20p. They're like, off you pop, and then she's like, okay. And then they get everything. They greenlight a Quidditch anime.
Ooh.
That would slap.
Like Kuroko no Basketball? Yeah.
Oh, mate. I'm down. All the team. Not a school-based one. Dude. Not a school-based one. International, mate.
Yeah, like a pro league. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Oh, man.
Dude, look, I think Quidditch is super interesting in that world, except for the whole snitch thing. I feel like that breaks the game entirely.
Oh, the rules are so broken.
The rules are stupid.
Yeah, like
it is dumb.
As a plot device.
If they could somehow like just retcon that. Oh, these two people are fighting over this thing that wins the whole game. If they retcon that somehow, I could get behind like any other.
It's so anime, right? You've got the team, and you've got all these stories, and you've got the rivalries, and then specifically the Seekers. There's something there, but it's dumb. Victor Crumb catches the snitch at the Quidditch World Cup and loses the game because they don't have enough points. It's just dumb. Like, the snitch is dumb, but it's very anime, and I like that. I like it.
It's true. Dumb and anime are oftentimes synonymous.
You're right. But all right. Anything else on Harry Potter before we wrap things up?
Do you guys remember that Witchbrook game?
Which what?
Witchbrook? Which what?
Which?
I'm putting it in the chat. Witchbrook, it was the game by Chucklefish, I believe, that got revealed like a year or two ago. And it looks...
Oh, Marty, send your link in Discord, and then I'll put it in the chat.
Oh,
because just came up as expletives.
Someone's trying to put pornos in the chat. This was the game that was like... it was like Stardew Valley, but Harry Potter.
I'm covering my actual name, but I have an actual wizarding degree here that somebody got me as a gift. I'm a wizard.
Why are you covering your actual name? Was it like Dobby the house elf? Jay?
It's his actual name is Harry Potter.
Find out where I live, where I work. Cover it up. I've got so much Harry Potter shit. You guys don't even know.
Do you have a house elf?
I have some idea.
That's not
okay.
Great.
Okay, I'm gonna have Casey. I'm sorry that this is gonna extend the podcast, but I'm gonna have to explain this story.
No, I think you have already.
My dad is a huge Harry Potter nerd, probably bigger than me. And when I started work at The Escapist, I kind of redid my office, and I got this big black cabinet thing, put all my tat in it, you know, the standard YouTuber thing, and he was like, Jay, do you want all my Harry Potter shit? And I was like, yeah. And he gave me like Lucius staff and all that because I didn't have any. I've always loved it, but I never had any. And he was like, oh, take all my collectible stuff. And he gave me loads of really cool stuff like that. That staff, got like Tom Riddle's diary. And
that's not good. You got to destroy that, dude.
Did he come with the snake too?
He has a version that has the Basilisk fang in it. And I wanted it. He wouldn't give it to me. Like. Loads of really cool stuff, like replicas of the coins, the Deluminator, like loads of really cool stuff. And he said, all right, Jay, the best thing out of all of it is a life-size replica of Dobby.
Ooh.
And he says, I'm bringing it over. And I was like, that's going to be the piece, mate. It's going to have like an entire section for it. It's going to be great. He says, it's going to be great. And when he came over, he was giving me all this stuff. The second to last thing he gave me was this full metal staff. And I was like... And he was like, and here comes the Dobby. I was pumped. Ready? I'll go get him. He's quite big, so just give me a sec.
Ooh. The suspense.
The suspense.
So,
yes.
He's quite big. So this is the life-size Dobby.
Oh, wow.
First of all, that's not life-size.
No.
My dad seems to have like a weird size problem where he describes... I'm not sure where he's getting this from, but this ain't life-size. And I've never pissed myself laughing more than anything else. And now I have another one.
Maybe it's like ranking at Kings, and your dad like had a little boji.
Yeah.
That's his little boji.
I have a little one, and this one holds him. And I've got my life-size Dobby, and he holds him.
Baby.
And he has his own life-size Dobby.
And he's got his own one. Yeah. And,
why does Dobby look like? He looks like Smeagol adjacent.
He does.
He does. He always has.
Yeah.
Those movies were coming out at around the same time, right?
Yeah. But never will I refer to anything as small ever again. It is now life-sized.
Life-size.
Life-size.
Maybe he meant like to scale.
Can I get
maybe that's what he was thinking.
Yeah. Do you want a life-size, medium, or large soda?
But yeah, I love Harry Potter. It's great. It's great. Give me that game. It better be good.
Nice. Okay, so that's a good note as any to end on. I want to thank everybody in the chat. Jeff, why don't you let folks know where they can find you this week in terms of streams, etc.
Tomorrow, Monday, I'll be back playing Destiny, doing some Iron Bender, so come through and watch some of that. Thursday, I'll probably be back with Destiny. Gonna take a break from Elden Ring. It's been all encompassing, so gonna take a little break. Get back to Destiny adjacent. Start doing some raiding. So definitely stay tuned for that. Also, I'll be back with my weekly comic series for Moon Knight once the episodes start dropping on March 30th. We'll be covering that on a weekly basis. So come through if you'd like to talk about, Disney stuff,
Oh, yeah.
Cool. How about you, Marty? What do you have coming up this week?
You can just watch me on all the normal stuff. I think most of the folks in chat know the shows I do with Casey and Jamate and the crew over at The Escapist. Yeah, I don't have any major projects I'm working on right now. And then you can follow me on Twitch. Right. My name is right above me. I have started solo streaming as well. I might do one later this afternoon in a few hours. Yeah, I played a bunch of Link to the Past, played some Kirby last time. It was fun. A lot of the pals were in the chat. So, yeah, I'm getting my streaming sea legs. So, yeah, come hang out. Might stream in a few hours.
Yeah, definitely check that out. Yeah.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
J-Mate, how about you? What do you have coming up this week?
This week, I don't have a lot, actually. So Anatomy is
one of those weeks, I guess.
Just one of those things. Anatomy, due to things in the background, has changed to once a month rather than every 2 weeks. That is depending on certain things. There could be one every 2 weeks, but guaranteed one every month. So I don't have anything this week. But yeah, I've got my personal streams, got all the streams happening on The Escapist. Come check us out. You can check my name. Is it below me or above me?
No, it's up there. It's in the sky.
Yeah, yours is above you. Theirs is below them.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, check me out there. Follow me on Twitch because I'm going to be doing a lot more personal streams. And check out Marty's because I'm going to be there and I'm going to watch.
Ooh.
Oh no, I'm going to get all nervous. I'm going to be like, here's my life-size phone, and I'm going to pull out like a very small phone.
It's the tiniest phone. Can't unlock it. Your finger's too big. Yeah, just stay tuned. That's me.
Nice. You guys can find me as usual at SigmaGears9 on Twitch as well as Twitter. That's usually where I promote or at least just advertise where I'm going to be at next because I do stream quite often for The Escapist. Some folks would say every day.
Ooh, but a lot, Jason.
What, like 5 out of the 7 days of the week, but not in that order. Mostly in that order, I want to say, I think.
Correct, yeah.
Anyway.
You take one day off for the Lord. Fridays are for the Lord.
Friday. Yeah. But I have another stream today on the Open Party channel, so join us there in about just under 2 hours for Super Smash Sunday. Jeff will be with me. We play Smash, and we play Smash hard. So come through, check us out.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I just had a Tunic review go up on the site, and I should have another one coming probably before the end of next week, I think. So
I think the embargo is definitely this week.
Oh, it is? Okay,
right.
So I should probably get on that.
I think it is. I don't know.
It's coming up. We'll get that done before deadline, I think. But once again, I want to thank my 3 hosts for joining me today. Thanks everybody in the chat for hanging out with us, talking to us. Make sure you're following all of these gentlemen as well as myself, subscribing to their individual channels if they have channels to subscribe to. And we'll see you guys on the flip side. That's my new catchphrase. I changed it from last time. I think I'm going with the new one.
I love it.
I like that you have a morning catchphrase and a night catchphrase. That's nice.
Yeah. So very.
We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye, pals.